Back at it again, and oh man, more news on Joe once again. And this first video that we're gonna dive into, oh man, it very well may be one of the scariest videos. You know, one of those videos where you're like, "Ooh, man, I would hate to be in that situation," kind of video. So make sure you guys stick around, hit that like button. All right, really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. And if you already are subscribed, make sure you still are subscribed, because I've heard of some people have been unsubscribed for some odd reason. I don't know what's going on, but make sure you still are subscribed if you subscribed already. And with that being said, let's dive in.
This just in, we can now call the 2024 presidential race for Joe Biden.
My fellow Americans.
This morning, an emboldened China invades Taiwan.
Financial markets are in free fall as 500 regional banks have shuttered their doors.
Border agents were overrun by a surge of 80,000 illegals yesterday evening.
Officials closed the city of San Francisco this morning, citing the escalating crime and fentanyl crisis.
Who's in charge here? It feels like the train is coming off the track.
So yeah, as you just saw there, very, very creepy and scary video. I tried to warn you guys. I tried to warn you. That's the last thing I want to see in 2024. I do not want to hear or see any part of that. Any part of that. It said, what if the weakest, I think what if the weakest president got reelected? And, you know, we had the China-Taiwan situation, right, popping off. We had the banks closing, which, oh my goodness, border being overrun, San Francisco being closed due to crime. And obviously you had all the imagery in the background and whatnot. But man, would that be scary. Could you imagine? Nah, I don't even want to imagine. I was gonna say, could you imagine waking up, you know, after the election and realizing Joe won? Oh man, listen. I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, but I honestly think that if he is reelected, America has about a 10% chance of surviving, as we know it. I think about a 10%. I like to be, I like to be an optimistic guy, personally. But with everything that I'm seeing, Joe and his administration talking about freedoms and liberties when all they're doing is taking them away, yeah, I think America has like a 10% chance of surviving if he wins in 24. It is pretty, it's going to be some pretty dark days. And in 28, if Republicans lose, just say goodbye. I personally think. Now, I don't have any evidence to back this up, like hardcore evidence to back this up. I don't. This is just my opinion, okay? Take it however you want. This is just my personal opinion. I think in 28, especially if Republicans don't win in 24, in 28, if Republicans don't win, and the right Republicans, not establishment Republicans, it's over. This experiment that we call the United States of America will be officially done. It will have fallen and will just be a distant memory for people to read about, at some point in the future. The same way we read about other civilizations that have graced this earth in the past. Personally. But I do have some polls that are quite nice to see. Check these out.
As Biden prepares to formally announce his campaign for a second term early this week, just 1 in 4 Americans believe he should run for re-election. 70% say he shouldn't run. By the way, only 35% believe Donald Trump should run again.
Hey, that's higher than Joe. It's higher than Joe. And honestly, I think this poll is a bit off. From everything that I've seen, and I've showed you guys a lot of those clips and those videos, I think this number is higher than 35% personally. I genuinely think that it's in the 40s for sure. Easy, possibly even higher than that. But that's just my humble opinion.
60% say no. Only 5% of Americans actually want both of these gentlemen to run. And let me show you even more of this poll. 53% of 2020 Biden voters say he shouldn't run. 64%.
53% of people who voted for him say that he should not run. These are the same people that voted for him in 2020. Over half of them say no. I think I say that's good news. I say that's great news.
Democrats who voted for Sanders or Warren in the 2020 primaries think he shouldn't run. And 76% of voters under 35 think he shouldn't run. And
76, 1834. What's that? Gen Z and that's part of Gen Z. Okay, I know that for sure. Part of Gen Z. So yeah, part of Gen Z. 76% to be exact. Over 3/4 say we don't want Joe. I think that spells bad news. And like I said, you know, I've shown you guys because I've come across videos, clips where even the LGBTQ community is saying, no, we don't want any part to do. We don't want anything to do with the Democratic Party. We're going with the Republicans, you know, yada, yada, yada. I've put those videos on display several times, and I'm constantly coming across more. Where even people in the black community, which obviously we already know these statistics involving the black community voting Democrat at over a 90% clip, a lot of black folks are saying, nah, bring Uncle Trump back. Bring Uncle Trump back, you know? And I don't know if I dropped that video or not, but, oh, man. Sometimes I don't even remember which videos I dropped for y'all, because sometimes I record, like, several videos and I don't end up dropping all of them. So I don't know if I dropped this video or not, but even on, you know, a left-leaning Instagram page, I mean, I was reading through the comments and people were like, we don't want Joe. This is a leftist-leaning Instagram page, because if you guys remember, I told you guys that, you know, when anything big happens, I go to like left-leaning Instagram pages and I kind of just read through the comments just to check the temperature of the room, just to see, you know, what the pulse is looking like. And even all of them were saying, no, we need Trump back. He probably does, you know, Joe probably doesn't even know what day it is, you know, just ragging on Joe. So I think this spells bad news for Joe, but great news for Uncle Trump.
Anything. And among Republican voters, it appears that the New York indictment only galvanized his support. We asked them whether these charges were politically motivated attack, and it means they've got to stand behind Donald Trump, or do these charges indicate that he's got a lot of distractions in his way and that it's important to nominate somebody else who can focus on beating Joe Biden? Well, as you can see here, it's no contest. Nearly 70% believe they've got to rally around Donald Trump right now because of these indictments. Only 1 in 4 Republican voters believe it is time to move on. And that translates into the Republican primary matchup here. Donald Trump with 46%. Now, look, Ron DeSantis, that's a healthy number for somebody that's never run for president before. It's about the same spot that Barack Obama started in against Hillary Clinton back in 2007. And when you combine first and second choice here, you see that Trump and DeSantis could very well end up in a neck-and-neck race here. But that's the point. Donald Trump seems to be as strong, if not stronger, with the groups that matter.
Oh, first and second choice. I was going to say, this poll seems a little off. I've never seen Nikki Haley at 17%, but this is just people picking their first and second choice.
Matter the most when it comes to winning a Republican primary. Now,
so yeah, as you guys just saw there, polls aren't looking good for Joe. Okay, and they're definitely looking a whole lot better for Uncle Trump. So I really, if we as Republicans do what we need to do, and I'm probably going to make a video on some of the things that I think we should implement to ensure that, you know, Republicans win. But as long as we do what we need to do, show up and show out, you know, like not like show out in a bad way, but, you know, get people out. I don't think there's any way we could lose. So, but For Joe, it gets a whole lot worse. It does not end there. Check out this clip.
Busted. President Joe Biden caught using a cheat sheet during his first news conference since announcing his re-election bid.
And on it, look at that, pre-selected questions that reporters were going to ask.
Peter Doocy was at the White House yesterday, and he's there again today on Take Your Child to Work Day. Hey, Peter.
Good morning. President Biden is saying that questions about his age are fair game, but he doesn't think being 80 is slowing him down.
With regard to age, I can't even say, I guess how old I am, I can't even say the number. It doesn't register with me. And but the only thing I can say is that one of the things that people are going to find out, they're going to see a race, and they're going to judge whether or not I have it or don't have it.
There's this. Some zoomed-in photos appear to show that President Biden had a near verbatim copy of a question that he would be asked in advance. We've seen him before with a grid showing reporters.
Even like pronounces the name for him. Oh my goodness. Exact question. Question number 1, the order with which he needs to call on the people. This is the first question. Oh.
Names and faces, but having the question or almost exactly the question is a major break from norms.
Now we're going to take some questions. The first question is from Courtney of the Los Angeles Times.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your top economic priority has been to build up U.S. domestic manufacturing in competition with China. Are you damaging a key ally in the competition with China to help your domestic politics ahead of the election?
What she said there is a little bit different than the pre-printed question on that reporter Q&A sheet, but it's really, really close. And it opens a whole can of worms because if President Biden has a question scripted in advance, then it could be staff passing him a scripted answer in advance.
Earpiece as well. This is how you answer the question. Just say...
idea that a presidential press conference, you would be given the questions in advance and be able to write down first question and the exact question from the reporter, that is an inconceivable thought to me as a former press secretary.
That is the leader of our country, guys. The leader of our country. Personally, I think, and a lot of you guys have said as well, a lot of you that have been around a lot longer than I have stated that he's by far the worst president ever, the weakest president ever. I showed you guys the clip at the beginning of the video on what could possibly happen if he's reelected. And, you know, on top of all of that, this guy needs cue cards in order to answer questions. Yeah. That's the leader of the proverbial free world. Guys, we got to get on like a door-to-door campaign or something. Start knocking on some doors and make sure, we got to make sure, you know, regular people who aren't into politics see videos like this. Because I feel like most regular Americans don't see these types of videos. They go over their heads, you know, because obviously mainstream media, for the most part, isn't showing that kind of stuff. So we need to find a way to get videos out like that to the regular public. That's just my personal opinion. And I think one way to do that is where it's possible and, you know, obviously legal, you know, door to door. Because this stuff is getting ridiculous. This guy can't win in 24. But y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.